I've got some coin images here that have been sent to me by subscribers, so let's get on with it and have a look. Okay, this one's from Harry, and he says, "Hello Paul, recently I bought a shilling from Charles I's reign. When it arrived, I noticed that the coat of arms / shield wasn't even on the right. Is this an error? Possibly back when coins were hammered, was this common? Either way, I hope you read this." So let's go back. What did he say again? I noticed that the coat of arms shield wasn't even on the right. Yeah, it is very uneven. Let's zoom into it. It does look a bit strange at the bottom right there, but there's so many different dies, so many different mints, so many different versions and varieties of the Charles I shilling. This is where I need the hammered coin experts to see what they reckon. Put in the comments what you think there. This page here from Tony Clayton, some Charles I shillings. These are Spink images. There's quite a few different ones. These are all Tower Hill mint, these ones. And the shield on that one looks a bit odd. It's a bit different. Again, so many different varieties. There's a milled one there. What's that then? Oxford mint. That could be Worcester mint. Exeter, so lots of ones. York mint there. So if anyone can help, please put in the comments what's going on there. It does look like it's been clipped a lot. Lots and lots of clippings taken off that coin. Thanks for that, Harry. I hope you get an answer to your question, but as you can tell, I'm not an expert on hammered coins. Next one is from Danny, and he says, "Got a rare penny when I was looking at my old coins." Yes, 1871 is a very difficult date to find. People know about the 1869 being rare, but the 1871 is not far behind. The official mintage figure was 1,290,320, but I think it's lower than that. There might have been that many pennies minted in 1871, but they probably weren't all dated 1871. It's the same with the 1869. The actual mintage figure dated 1869 is much lower than the official mintage figure. If you go to eBay, click on sold items and then search for 1871 penny. One there sold for £7, one above it for £8. So even in that very worn condition, they're worth looking out for. And this one that was deemed to be in very fine condition, a few scratches there though, that sold for £150 last year at the London coin auctions. So yeah, thanks for that, Danny. 1871, definitely a date to look out for. The next one is from Assad, and he says, "Hello sir, I have a halfpenny 1944 with QMN. Can it be rare or what? Any information about it? Thank you." Well, I can see what he means, but let's have a closer look. There we are. Now I'm 99% sure that's not a Q. I think it's an error. I think it's a crack in the die where a little bit of extra metal has leaked through. And if it is a crack in the die, others could exist. It might have been spotted very early, and there could be more out there which would make it very collectible. It still happens today. Here's the First World War Centenary Navy £2 coin. It's supposed to look like the one on the left, but a crack in the die has leaked metal through and it looks like a flag on the mast when there's not really one there. But this didn't get spotted by quality control very quickly, and there's lots of them out there. So everyone, check your 1944 halfpennies. Have you got one with that error on it? Okay, the next one is from Heather. And Heather says, "Hi Paul, I've recently discovered your videos on YouTube and I'm hooked. I love your penny hunts. I recently started collecting pre-decimal pennies and have found your videos so educational. Thank you for sharing all that knowledge." Thank you, but there's people with a lot more knowledge than me out there. That's why I make these videos, to get their help. And she says, "The reason I have emailed is to ask if you could recommend someone to contact to help me with a possible date error on a Greek euro 2-cent coin. It was in a little bag of coins that I picked up from a charity shop today, urged on by having seen you do it in your videos. I know you don't collect foreign coins, which is why I ask if you would know who may be interested in helping me. I've added some photos, only that you may be interested to see them. I'd love your opinion on how the date looks. I can't see any scratching or damage, but would love some expert advice. Can you help me or send me to someone that may help? Thank you so much, Heather." Well, that's why I make these videos, Heather, so let's see if someone can help. This is the obverse of the coin, the 2 euro cents, but we don't want that. We need to look at the reverse. And there it is. And there we can see where the date should be. It just says 200. So obviously it's 2000 and something, so there's a digit missing from the end, which could be anything from a 2 to a 9. Heather has sent some close-up pictures. Let's have a look at the first one. And you can see quite clearly there, no last digit in the date. We can get even closer on the last image. So what do you think about that, Euro collectors? Please put your answers in the comments. Could it be a weak strike? Could there be a number there that's very, very weakly struck? Could the digit have been deliberately removed by someone? I don't know. Let's hope we can find out for you, Heather. Okay, next pictures are from Chris B. And Chris says, "Hi Paul, I love your channel and look forward to new and interesting things. I have a few coins I would like your opinion on. One is a 1931 Cooper nickel penny coated at some point in gold lacquer. Another is a possible small date 1862 penny, but the latter numbers are hard to read. I also have a 1902 and it looks like a dot penny, but there is corrosion around the dot, although the dot is above the field. Anyway, I hope you find them as interesting as I do. Kind regards, Chris B." Okay, let's have a look at the first one. And Chris says it's a 1931 Cooper nickel penny coated at some point in gold lacquer. I've never heard of a Cooper nickel penny. Surely it must be bronze. And it looks to me like it's just been painted or coated in lacquer, as you say. And to be honest, if I found that in one of my penny hunts, it would go straight into the dirty mug. I have never heard of a Cooper nickel penny. I don't think they exist. Now the next one is an 1862 that could be a small date penny. The normal date is the one below. That's for comparison. It's the one above that we're looking at. And to be honest, I can't really see anything much there at all, Chris. Now the small date 1862 penny was an error in production where the font of the halfpenny was used instead of the penny. But I can't see anything there that would tell me that was a small date error penny. There's an image of an 1862 penny with a small font. Now if you look at the one, you can see it is fatter, but it's smaller. There's a big gap between the 1 and the exerg line at the top of the date. But the one on your penny looks like a big 1. I think it's just been worn down and flattened out due to over a century of circulating. But I could be wrong. People, put in the comments what you think. Okay, one more image. There we are. What did Chris say about this? I also have a 1902 and looks like a dot penny, but there is corrosion around the dot, although the dot is above the field. Right, so it's a raised dot. Now, because it's got corrosion around it, I don't think it can be a die error. I don't think it can be metal leaking out from a crack in the die, because why would that cause corrosion? Can I get any closer? There we go. It could be just damage, but more likely, I think something could have got between the die and the blank at the minting process. A little bit of iron filing or something like that. It could have been something on the blank itself before the coin was minted. Anyway, let me know what you think of that one, but I think it's almost certainly not a die crack. Well, there we are. That's my opinion on these coins. Please put your opinion in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll see you in the next video. If you've got any coin images, send them to my email address and it will be in the description below.